Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how I go about stripping paint off of rolling stock that's clearly overpainted. Here we have a nice example of just that. We've got this Athearn boxcar here, and I'm just going to move it around a little bit here so you can see the brushed on paint. Well, it looks like it was brushed on, but it's not a very good paint job, and it's not really in any color that I care to use. So I'm going to show you the paint remover that I use to take the paint off of a car like this, or any car really. Now I've heard of people using anything from automatic transmission fluid, which is a detergent, to purple power, letting it soak overnight, 80-90% alcohol, all different kinds of things. But I've had pretty good luck with this right here. I found this at Lowe's, and I think you can get this at Home Depot too. And it comes in two different kinds, but this is the kind I use the most, is the latex paint. But sometimes you get somebody who takes testers, spray enamel, or regular Krylon and paints a car, and I've had good luck removing it with this. I like this stuff because it doesn't chemically ruin the plastic of cars. It's really gentle, and I've actually stripped different. Cars made in the 60s and 70s. The cheap Tyco ones aren't the same plastic as the modern ones, so it works well on pretty much any kind of plastic that I've come across in any age range of rolling stock that you might want to try to strip the paint off of and repaint for your own purpose. So I don't remember exactly how much this stuff is. It's under $10. It's probably like $6 or $7, but it works pretty well, and it doesn't really have a bad odor. You do have to do some scrubbing. I mean, I guess the longer you let it soak, the less scrubbing you'd have to do. But I'm a little impatient, so what I'm going to do is get this Athearn boxcar set up in a little tub or something, and I'll show you how much I soak it down and how fast it will initially start to take paint off, and then we'll work our way to the final result. So sit tight and we'll get situated. Alright, so we've got our victim here in a nice little container here, plastic container. It's no good for anything else for me at this moment. So these Athearn cars are fairly simple to get the bottom half off of. There's no reason to have all of this in the paint removal process here, so this just kind of pops out. No big deal, no screws or anything. The doors I just leave in there. Unless they are really easy to take out, I tend to leave them, especially if there's a lot of paint chalked up in here and binding the door up. That's typically what happens when you get a heavy paint job like this. So we'll just go ahead and take our paint remover here and just soak it down. Don't be shy. I mean, this thing should be soaked. You're going to be wetting this thing down a few times, so. Can't really describe the odor of this stuff. It's obviously not chemical-y. It's new green chemistry, patented. It reads on the label here, so I'm not sure what plant they milked to get the paint remover juices out, but anyway. So I've got a couple different kind of brushes here. This one here on the right is metal-y brush, probably brass or something, or yeah, probably brass, I don't know, but it's metal, but it's relatively soft, so I scrub lightly with this, and then I have this fibrous, almost plasticky kind of brush here, which is nice if you're worried about damaging the plastic underneath. You can always start with this and work your way to a coarser brush. So I don't think this brush is going to do anything right off the bat, but we'll give her the old college try here. Try not to spritz my camera lens in the same motion here, like I think I already did. right off the bat, I mean, this stuff's not a miracle. It's not going to strip your paint instantly, but it helps to massage it in, if you will, with your brush. Just gently abrade it. You can already see the paint starting to come loose a little bit. So basically what I'm going to do is just continue this, just go over the whole car and give it a good scrub down here and keep soaking in a little bit more. You can already see in the tray over here, paint's starting to come off. It's only a matter of time, just every car is different. This one seems to have a pretty thick layer of paint on it, so it's probably going to be a couple minutes of scrubbing. My clock says 1/4 right now, so we'll see maybe in about a half an hour of soaking how much paint we can get off. So we'll be back. Alright, so it's been about a half an hour. Just been kind of randomly spraying it here and there just to keep it wet down with the paint remover. So let's see what we get. Oh, and one thing I want to mention is, and I'm mentioning this also because of my own stupidity. Obviously, I haven't broken any stirrups off on this model, but in the past I've broken stirrups off just being rough with paint removal. So just be careful when you remove paint. And also, I mean, I'm not wearing gloves because I don't care, but you probably might want to wear gloves when you do this, you know, just in case. Wow, this is some thick paint. I just picked a half an hour at random as just a random time to wait and see. I mean, obviously you can see the paint is coming off, but this is a really thick helping of red on here. So, you know, your individual results will vary. It depends on how long you wait with the remover on there and how much elbow grease you're willing to put in at any given time. You can see the paint starting to come off right here, or not. It looks like it to me off the viewfinder here. But, I mean, basically, unless you're willing to wait overnight or a day or so and you have enough paint remover to actually soak the thing you're trying to remove paint off of, I mean, obviously that's going to be your best bet. That's minimal elbow grease involved, but I don't really care. I kind of like a fast result, so if I can get a majority of the paint off soon and then soak it to get the fine bits off later, then I'm okay with that. I just like to see progress really fast. There you go. See, we're already starting to get a nice chunk of this off. The thing about painting something with a brush is it leaves uneven layers, so, you know, could be thicker paint here than here, and I could get a clean spot here quickly and be scrubbing twice as long here. You never know what you're going to get when you buy somebody's used car for a couple bucks, but you end up getting a unique car that nobody else has in the long run, or at least a car that's not like one that you've got in the number series. A lot of different advantages to painting your own cars and stripping the paint off. Alright, you can see I'm starting to make a dent in this here, and that was only like maybe 5 minutes of scrubbing, so I'm going to let this soak a bunch more. I can't say how long I'm actually going to let it soak for because I have other stuff to do, but it's 10 to the hour right now. It's almost 1, so I don't know. The next time I come back, if I remember, I'll tell you what time it is, and then we'll know how long this soaked. So keep removing with this and come back with progress. Alright, it's been soaking for about an hour now. It's a little after 2. So let's see if this paint comes off any easier after sitting for an hour. Well, technically an hour and a half now, right? There actually is black paint on the door too. I know it doesn't seem like it, but the little flecks are coming off. You see all the little black flecks? Those are actually from the door paint. You're definitely going to want to accommodate for overspray here. I mean, I contained a lot of it in the bin here, but some of it is getting out. Definitely may want to seek a taller container for a vigorous paint removal, but it'll be fine. I'm just lightly scrubbing, not really bearing down on it too hard because I don't want to flex the car too much. But these little brushes actually get into the corners pretty well. Just gotta take your time, and if the paint's not coming off easily enough, soak it down and wait a little longer. But my goal here is not to strip the whole car in front of you, but just take you along for the process, give you an idea of about how much time you can expect to spend stripping a heavily, awfully painted car. This is a box car too, obviously. Flat car is not going to take you nearly as long as, you know, a high-Q box car or whatever else you're trying to put your own touch on here. So, alright, oops, that's the wrong one. And you can see it just kind of melts away. Whoops. Oh my, that was almost a disaster. So as you can see, we're definitely getting somewhere here. Just soak that down. So, and the body's nice and smooth. It's not marred up at all by the brass brush here. I think this is brass. I don't know. But got another cleaner area here. Oop. Yeah, and this stirrup is bent already, and it's probably going to break off. I'll have to probably glue that on later. If you break off a stirrup, it's not the end of the world. It just sucks when it happens. So anyway, I'm just going to let this soak a bunch more, just at least so all the cracks and the crevices have a chance to get an even amount of the paint remover here. If you have a little puddle going here on one side, it helps to utilize the stripper that's moved over there. Just because it's got the pigment in it doesn't mean it's not good. So we'll let this soak for another little bit here, and we'll come back some more. See what we get. Alright, so we've gone ahead and let this soak overnight. It's 10:15 in the morning right now, the following day. So let's see how loose this paint has become with an overnight soak. I decided I didn't like red paint on my hands and under my fingernails anymore, so found an old bag from something. I think road surface stuff came in here. This kind of stuff. This crap. Took the bag. That way I could just get a good grip on it and not have to get crazy with the red ink all over my hands. Or paint, I should say. Now another thing I've thought too is this would be a good way to weather or age a car. Over paint it and then let the paint dry and then come back and scrape a lot of it off. Of course, this is a little overdone at this point, but if you could make it look like this, it would probably be realistic. But just see how much loose stuff we can break off here and soak it down. Yeah, this is a lot looser than it was yesterday. Tried to keep it partially submerged in here. I thought maybe if one end sat submerged underwater and one was open to the atmosphere, maybe I'd get a different result. And I kind of am. Seems like a smart idea to actually have it submerged. If you don't have any sort of vessel big enough to fit something like this in and submerge it, I mean, you could probably use a big Ziploc freezer bag and then just fill it and shake the bag, I don't know, a bunch, agitate it really well, let it sit overnight, agitate it. I'm sure there's faster ways to strip paint off a car, more chemically, but I'm not really in a rush. I don't mind scrubbing down on this, taking my time. What you think about all the other projects and stuff you want to do. Try not to squirt the camera here with the spray from the brush. Normally I don't do this on camera. But it's for science. See more of this black paint coming off of the door here. Once I get a lot of this paint off, the door will probably come free and I can pop it out of the track, but I didn't want to get too crazy with it. Let's just see if we can get one whole side scrubbed down fairly well, and let's see what we get. I'm obviously going to scrub the car clean off camera and then show you the final result. Obviously you understand by this point what kind of scrubbing is involved. So let's just get in here, maybe soak it down a little bit. Yeah, this stuff's coming right off. Just don't press too hard. The good thing about paint stripper versus attempting to sand your paint off, which is probably impossible, I'd like to think, on something like this, is it settles down into all the little nooks and crannies, like these little grabs here, so you get every little fleck of paint out, or at least that's the idea. See more black paint coming off the door here. That's a good sign. Let's just try to get one little clean spot on here. There. So we just gotta get along in the edges here. You can see this stirrup already is starting to hate life. That's nothing a little adhesive can't fix. It's not the end of the world. It's actually a really good brush. These this one says Torrington number 78. This is probably something I've gotten from an old gentleman's collection, but you can actually buy these in a 3-pack at Harbor Freight for probably next to nothing. Don't use the hardest brush they have. It's like steel wire. That will surely abrade this, and you'll have to spray filler primer on here to fill it, and then you may lose other details in the process trying to fill in cracks. So it's nice to have a nice smooth surface to start with right off the bat. Your paint. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Obviously I still have the bulkheads to do and the roof, but the roof would clean up a little easier, but since that's the easiest part to paint, it's probably got the most layers onto it. I thought about using my old Sonic toothbrush with a wire brush attachment on it, but the battery like permanently died on it before I had a chance to experiment with it. Of course, that'd probably make more paint sprays than anything. Okay, that was pretty rough handling there, but just trying to get a result. Man, this is a heavy coat of paint. I actually don't remember having this much of an issue removing paint. I usually don't wait overnight. Usually I just soak it and scrub as I go and it comes off. So this is a really good example of why you should let a car soak. Let it marinate overnight at least. There. Alright, you can see it's a process. I mean, basically, unless you're going to let this thing soak for a week, it seems like maybe an overnight soak and a good scrub would be your best bet. See, that actually looks kind of cool. It actually looks like, you know, not weathered. Well, yeah, weathered, but, you know, it looks like it's beat up and been around the block a few times. But that's not what we're going for in this instance, so let's see if I can get a clean spot on here. Whoops. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, expect a little bit of work coming your way, but kind of fun to do, a little relaxing. But I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and completely clean this off now off camera. I'm sure this video is already over 10 minutes. So I'll get this all scrubbed off. Who knows when that'll be. I've probably got a total, you've basically seen all the scrubbing I've done on camera, and there's probably a total of maybe 20 minutes of actual scrubbing on this. Most of it's soaking. So we're going to let this soak a little more, and then I'll come back down here and scrub it. And then I'll give you a first witness encounter of a fully stripped boxcar. So hang tight. Alright, and here's our finished result. Not too bad looking, right? Not too shabby. I went ahead and gave this a base coat of flat black acrylic just to take the shininess off the plastic, because as soon as I get decals for this, a friend of mine wants a couple Illinois Central boxcars, so as soon as I get the decals, I'll decal this up in something. I don't know if it'll be the Death Star or something older, but there you go. Looks way better than it did before, that's for sure. So I hope you learned something, I hope you enjoyed this, and see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.